All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something kind of special.
Yeah.
It's a new memoir that's coming out. It's called Fahrenheit-182, which,
That's a catchy title.
yeah,
Yeah.
a humorous and inspirational memoir by Mark Hoppus of Blink-182.
Of Blink-182.
Uncover the life of a musician who never gave up.
Right.
That's the full title. And
Mouthful.
it is a mouthful, written with Dan Ozzi.
Of course.
And really, our main source for this whole deep dive is actually just the Amazon product page.
Which is amazing how much information you can get from an Amazon page these days.
It is. You
Yeah.
can really get a feel for the book before it's even out, which is cool.
You can get, like you were saying, it comes out April 8th, 2025, so
Yeah.
we got some time.
Yeah.
But we can already see, it could be a hardcover Kindle audiobook. It's published by Davy Street Books.
400 pages.
400 pages.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty hefty book that's not messing around.
No, it's not.
And I don't know about you, but for me, the fact that it's available on audiobook, that's like a huge selling point for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I can listen to it, while I'm doing other things.
I'm more of a physical book person myself, but
Yeah.
audiobooks definitely have their place.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, so I think what's really interesting is even before the book is out, it's already #1 in Amazon's bestsellers in a few categories.
That's impressive.
Yeah, punk musician biographies, rock music books, and rock band biographies.
So clearly there's already a built-in audience who are very excited for this.
For sure.
Yeah.
So really, we wanna kind of get into what this memoir is all about for our listeners, and kind of what can you expect?
What are the themes we're looking at?
Yeah, what are the themes? What insights might you get about Mark Hoppus?
Right. Blink-182, one of the,
Yeah, one of the biggest bands of the 90s.
Absolutely. And the 2000s, too. I mean, they've had quite a run.
Huge run.
Yeah, and just this idea of, a musician who just never gave up.
Never gave up.
Which is, pretty inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do we even begin?
I think a good place to start is with Mark's background.
Okay, sure.
His early life.
Right.
And the description kind of paints this picture of an angst-filled kid from the desert.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a classic troubled childhood, leads to great art kind of thing. We've seen that story before.
Yeah, and his parents got divorced,
Right.
so, that's never easy.
No, especially not during those formative years.
No,
It can really shape who you become.
absolutely. And then, they moved around a lot.
They did, yeah. Every
Yeah.
time they moved, he kind of reinvented himself.
Yeah, he was a dork, then he was a goth, then he was a skate punk.
Yeah, it's like he was trying on different identities, seeing what fit.
It's so relatable.
Yeah, totally.
Every teenager goes through that.
To some extent, right?
Yeah, but I mean, amplified when you're moving to different places and having to make new friends and stuff.
It's like a whole new you every time.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder how much of that is in his music.
Does that come through?
All those different
personas?
Yeah, personalities.
Yeah.
And then, he meets his best friend who's also his musical soulmate.
Oh, this is the classic story of how a band gets formed.
Right.
Right place, right time.
You can totally imagine them
Yeah.
just jamming in a garage somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total cliche, but we love it.
We do.
Yeah. So, I mean, how much of the book do you think is going to be about, the actual formation of Blink-182?
I think a decent amount. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of goes into his formative years as a latchkey kid in the 80s.
80s.
Hooked on punk rock.
Skateboards, MTV.
Skateboards, MTV.
That's like a whole vibe.
It is.
Right there.
It's that's such a specific era.
Like a time capsule.
Yeah, and, they talk about his celebrated career with Blink-182.
Yeah. I mean, they're huge.
They sold over 50 million albums.
That's insane.
Billions of
Yeah.
streams. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not just like a band. That's a cultural phenomenon.
It is.
Yeah.
It's they really brought pop punk to the mainstream.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they were unapologetically themselves the whole time.
Yeah, and it's still going.
It's still going.
Their latest album, One More Time,
Yeah.
debuted at #1 on the U.S. Billboard charts
Wow.
in 2023.
So this is a band that's been around for decades.
Decades.
And they're still killing it.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And the biggest tour to date?
Selling out arenas, headlining festivals.
It's wild.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that kind of
Momentum for
Yeah.
that long.
especially in the music industry?
Yeah. So many bands, they have their moment
Right.
and then they kind of fade away.
Yeah, they disappear.
But not Blink-182.
Dude, 182.
They're still going strong.
They are.
Yeah.
And you know what I think is really interesting is that
Yeah.
this memoir doesn't shy away from the hard stuff.
right? It's not just a celebration of their success.
Oh.
It gets into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, it talks about his lifelong battle with anxiety.
Yeah, which is something that so many people struggle with.
So many people.
And especially nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so prevalent.
It's almost like you have to have anxiety.
Yeah, like it's the norm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
It is sad.
Yeah.
And then it talks about his public fight with cancer.
Wow.
So.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like to go through that so publicly.
Yeah.
It must have been incredibly difficult.
Yeah. I can't even imagine.
But also very brave.
Yeah.
To share that with the world.
And I think that's what makes this book more than just a book for Blink-182 fans.
Right.
You know, it's for anyone who has struggled.
Who has faced adversity.
Yeah, anyone who's had to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Anyone who has wanted to quit but kept going.
Which is pretty much everyone at some point in their life.
Pretty much everyone at some point.
So it's like a universal story.
Yeah.
Disguised as a rock and roll memoir.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you know, they say the book is smart, funny, and refreshing.
Yeah.
With a voice that's relatable and unmistakably his own.
Which makes sense, given that he's had, you know, experience in this realm before.
Yeah, he hosted Hoppus on Music.
Right.
And he has a radio show with Apple Music.
So he's a natural communicator.
Yeah, he's used to talking.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's working with Dan Ozzi.
Dan Ozzi.
Yeah, who is like a super respected music journalist.
Yeah, and author, too.
Yeah.
He wrote a national bestseller about, like, the major label feeding frenzy and punk emo and hardcore.
So he really knows this world.
He knows it inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to add a lot of like depth and context to this reading.
It's not just going to be like a surface level look at things.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a deep dive.
A deep dive.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, so clearly like the book is doing really well. It's #1 in a bunch of categories.
As we said, yeah.
But I think what's really cool is that it's appealing to a much wider audience.
Right. It's not just for music fans.
No.
It's for anyone who's interested in, like, the human experience.
Yeah.
Overcoming challenges, finding your path.
Yeah.
Like, those are universal themes.
Absolutely.
That everyone can relate to.
So what do you think is the most exciting part of this upcoming memoir for you?
Well, you know, I'm always drawn to the more personal side of things.
Yeah.
So for me, it's those glimpses into Mark's inner world.
Right.
You know, like imagining him as a teenager, trying on all these different identities.
The dork, the goth,
Yeah,
the skate punk.
It's so relatable.
It is.
And then him being so open about his struggles with anxiety and cancer.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really powerful.
Powerful and inspiring. And, you know, having Dan Ozzi on board as his co-author just makes me feel like this is going to be a really well-written book.
Yeah, well-crafted story.
Yeah, not just like a rambling mess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's interesting to think about like what kind of lessons he might share in the book.
Yeah, like what has he learned from being in the music industry for so long?
Yeah, 3 decades.
3 decades.
You know, and how have his personal struggles shaped his music and his view on fame?
Right. Like how has he stayed grounded?
Yeah.
Through all of that.
Through all the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is. And it's like this book is more than just a history of Blink-182.
Right. It's like a reflection on a life.
Yeah.
Lived in this crazy world of music.
The music industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what else emerges when the book finally comes out.
April 8th, 2025.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our deep dive.
Into Fahrenheit-182.
Yeah.
The upcoming memoir from Mark Hoppus of Blink-182.
And Dan Ozzi.
And Dan Ozzi.
All right. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.